Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for this webinar from PRATI to go through the Sublingual Session 6 playlist with our guest curator joining us, Ashley Booth. We're really excited to be sharing this music and talking about it and exploring the ins and outs of creating playlists and how music can support psychedelics, specifically ketamine, through this curated experience that Ashley's put together for us. So really have been looking forward to this one. It's really an excellent playlist, and I hope you all will have great questions for us. We'll have a little Q&A at the end. So what I'd like to say just to kick us off is a little bit about PRATI and myself. I'm Stephen Thomas. I'm a clinical social worker and a ketamine therapist. And I kind of do the music stuff for PRATI as well as part of the CAP trainings that we do. I'm the course director for our foundational CAP training program. And I make playlists. You might have seen some of those on the PRATI account. So lots to say about PRATI. There's a lot I could say, but what I will say is it stands for the Psychedelic Research and Training Institute. PRATI's been around for about 4.5 years. We are a nonprofit. And we are organized with a mission and a vision and purpose. The vision for PRATI is PRATI imagines a world where people flourish and thrive in right relationship with the natural world. And then our purpose is phrased as restoring connection to the sacred, which we understand as self, community, nature, and spirit. And I like to think that music can encompass all of those things, and it really does touch the spirit, as hopefully we'll talk about as we go through this. Big thanks to the people who have donated to support PRATI as part of the request that came through the registration. Thank you. That it helps us so much, helps us put on these offerings and build our repertoire of programs. So huge appreciation to all of you who donated. And it's not too late. You can donate at any time if you feel like you got some value out of this and want to support. We greatly appreciate it. Another encouragement for people to wear headphones if you got them. That's going to give you a deeper sonic experience. You'll get to hear all of the production values of the music and go inside the songs, which is what we do when we're experiencing this with medicine. So you'll get a little non-ordinary state process if you put them on, probably a little bit deeper. And then questions can go in the chat for now. If you have questions that pop up as the webinar is going on, feel free to just type it in the chat, or you can hold on to it, and we will give people a chance to ask questions on the mic if they want when we get to the end. And then you're going to get a feedback survey for participating, and we welcome any feedback that you have for us. It helps us inform what you liked about this, what you'd like to see more of. So looking out for those too. So I am going to introduce our guest curator and guest for this webinar, Ashley Booth. Ashley has been working at the intersection of psychedelics and wellness since she started the Southern California Psychedelic Society, also known as the AWARE Project, in 2015. In 2016, she was hired as the study coordinator on the MAPS-sponsored FDA trial of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy for PTSD, soon becoming the only pre-licensed psychotherapist to be offered a position as a co-investigator on the trial. She's worked in Los Angeles and internationally, offering IFS, ketamine-assisted psychotherapy, Hakomi, psychedelic integration, and harm reduction. To professionals entering the burgeoning field of psychedelics, she offers consultation and training around psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy and associated services. She's given numerous talks at conferences, workshops, and podcasts regarding the mindful reintroduction of psychedelics into Western culture. Awesome. You've got your hands in a lot of areas of this work, Ashley.
Yeah.
It's
been quite the journey.
Quite the journey, yes. So I like to open this up just to ask a few questions to get to know a little bit more about your work, and then we'll kind of dig into the process around music for you. But just to start, maybe you can tell us a little bit about what your background is with psychedelic therapy work, how you got started with this, and what inspired you to get involved.
Yeah, it was definitely a circuitous path that all started at Burning Man
as it
years
does.
ago. But yeah, prior to getting into this field, I was an oceanographer and a marine biologist. And
Wow, that is a circuitous path. Okay, so you emerged from the depths. Yeah.
yeah, I was swimming in the ocean to now into the ocean of consciousness.
Yes. Yeah, it's all oceanic, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think the through line is really just sort of a deep sense of curiosity, that has brought me into connection with the natural world, and then being able to have these sort of experiences and really poignant experiences in all sorts of different contexts that have connected me deeply with community, deeply with myself, deeply to something bigger, and however you want to
might
call
we
that,
say the sacred, perhaps?
the sacred, the divine. And yeah, and had some very pivotal moments that I felt kind of went through my own evangelical phase, and started a psychedelic society out of that. And got really connected, and knew that this was something that I wanted to contribute to the world. And I kind of it felt like we're not going to be able to save the environment and the rainforests and the oceans and the animals until we heal people.
You're speaking my language here, Ashley.
So it's yeah, deeply wanting to bring us back into connection with ourselves and with all the other beings that inhabit this planet.
Beautiful. Wow. So it's really kind of this ecological through line for you, like the oneness of.
Yeah. And I think it's also just like passing the gift forward that I feel like I've received through this work and through the connections that I've made in this work. So
wow.
It's been a wild ride.
I love
and
that.
quite a serendipitous one.
Yeah. I don't even know if we talked about this, but I share like sort of a similar but different trajectory through environmental work. Yeah, doing conservation and things. So yeah, it's so cool. Love that. So that's kind of the background with psychedelics in general. What about with music? Tell a little bit what your relationship with music is, how it connects to this work for you. Yeah, and then how you understand that relationship between music and psychedelic healing to be connected.
Yeah. I mean, I think through my own experiences, I had a healing relationship with music in and of itself, because I was just with my family last week, and there's a reoccurring kind of narrative in the family that we're not musical. I can't hear music. It doesn't connect with me. And so
really?
I kind of received that. And so then having my own experiences in non-ordinary states of consciousness, connecting with music and feeling how music moved me rather than me, and just so moved by that, and I became just a huge lover of dance. And so that is something that continues to be a love. And and I'm also quite, I guess, either particular or sensitive to music. And so, in the various experiences that I've had in all sorts of different kinds of contexts, I know what my body responds to, and I know what it doesn't respond to. And so I think getting into curation was really brought about by really wanting to kind of caretake for my own system of like what feels supportive to me.
Right.
So I think that's kind of how it's happened, that just a through line for me. And then getting into doing ketamine work just created an opportunity to be able to make these playlists and to curate them and to be able to share them and get feedback. And it was just a very rewarding process. Also, just a kind of a self-care process too, because being able to finish a day of work and then come and sit down and just focus on music for a little bit as a way to just
process.
do my own self-care practice. Has been really effective. I will say that one thing that has been a bit of a casualty, though, is that when I do my own journey work now, I'm constantly listening to the music in like a curator with a curator mind on, and it's like, and it kind of it can be
that analytical part doesn't want to step back, right?
I'm
Yeah.
like, could I
It's
just
like,
be here and
didn't
receive this? Because I'm like, what song is this? I need to write it down.
Yes. You probably experience that because I share the same affliction, if you will. Uh, and the challenging thing for me, I do that with all music, and especially, that it's especially annoying when I'm trying to just release into the medicine. But with my own playlists, like that's a deal breaker. I can't, the scrutiny and the ego is just so harsh. And just like, both way, either harsh or like self-congratulatory. It's just not good. So yeah.
Well, I think when I have my own playlist, I do that less because I know what's coming.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
less surprised. But at least I'm not being like, oh, what's that song? I need to write it down. It's like, oh, I know this song now. I get to just sit here and listen to it because I know I'm not anticipating it. I don't know. So
we're a little different there, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm super curious because we were talking before we started the call about other medicines, and because it sounds like you've curated maybe for other medicines as well, and aside from ketamine a little bit. Is that accurate?
I mean, part of the MDMA clinical trials, I'm might be starting to teach around doing work around psilocybin assisted psychotherapy in some trainings that are coming up around that.
Like specifically music, the music part?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so that's such a big part of like knowing the arc of the medicine, knowing different situations call for different kind of tool sets. And so ketamine, I think, is a really great introduction because especially because a lot of my playlists are for IM ketamine. And so people are kind of in it and you're not doing linear interactions. So you're taking them on a short journey.
Right.
And it's a great way to really get into that curation process because once you start to get into other medicines, there are different factors that you need to bring in that I think are really used. It's just, being able to you just have to be in the situation and be like, oh shoot, I really need a playlist that has this now. And so you kind of fumble that first time and then you make a bookmark that next time you need something that accounts for with people shift to this mood. But where do you go from there? Because you have to be able to be nimble.
Yeah. Like with MDMA, psilocybin, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, MDMA is lovely because people are in a more, it's a more social, there's more social interactions. And so you can, I think there's a forgivingness in that.
Yeah. Well, they're not glued to every song because they're coming in and out. It's like you could put a playlist together where 3 or 4 songs aren't even heard or paid attention to or experienced in that direct way. Yeah.
Right. And so for that kind of thing, I don't do a heavy curation. I just have more like playlists that are just a jumble of something in the same theme. But I will, if they come out and we start talking, I will have a separate playlist that I will sort of transition into that's just background music that's holding, because sometimes if you still have really active music going on and you're trying to talk over it, it's awkward. So I'm really sensitive to those, like, how does this space feel and how is the music supporting that space or not?
The set and setting part. Yeah. That's a great tip, actually. Yeah, I had not thought about that because I had an MDMA participant and didn't do I just turned the music down a little bit, but it was still active. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually something that I have in my ketamine playlist is I have things that are like intro music and I have what I call end caps, which is sort of like we're talking beforehand, but it's not the journey yet. And then we're talking at the end, and it tends to be a lot of ambient music that's just kind of creating a container. And so I think that's really an important thing to have, outside of the curated ARC playlist.
I love that. So with this playlist that you put together for us, what were your goals and intentions for putting it together? And then kind of how did you approach doing that?
I tend to gravitate towards music styles and something that feels warm and nurturing. And I think mostly because that's just what resonates with me. And so, I'm following what feels good for me.
Yeah.
And I really like bringing in a lot of vocals, and there's some percussive things, and we'll kind of go into that as we listen to the playlist. So there are different, I'm trying to kind of hit different arcs at different times, and as we go through it, we can explore that a bit more. But I wanted it to have a warm feel, and I've heard of the other playlists that you had in your offerings, and so there's been a variety of different things, and I felt like that was sort of the flavor that I could bring to the mix.
Yes.
That was, my signature.
Your signature. Yeah. And then, so how did you approach, I mean, maybe you don't have more to say about that, but did you pull together a bunch of tracks and then just sort through them and put them in an order? Like, what's your approach?
Yeah. So I organized playlists. So I have uncurated playlists that I have buckets of different feeling tones. And so, I have sort of ambient music, what I call bittersweet music, neoclassical music, active music, different kind of buckets. And so as I'm listening to music, I'm putting things into those buckets, and then I will go back through and sort of sort them later and figure out some of my favorite ones. And so for this playlist, different parts of the playlist have a different purpose or kind of need. So the beginning has a need. The ascent has a different tone. When you're meeting it, and then when it's coming down again. And so I'm pulling from those different buckets, depending on kind of like maybe songs that I haven't used yet, or and here's a new one that I'm really like wanting to get out there. And the last thing I just thought of as well is that I do tend to trend towards like, I don't know what you call it, like contemporary or neoclassical music. I find it to be more neutral, especially for people that are ketamine to ketamine. They are not sort of in the medicine community, or have, and so I'm trying to make it more accessible.
Accessible.
Right. So, I like, some like, Kundalini chanting music, right, for my own work, but I don't know how accessible that's going to be,
right,
for people that are new to this work. And so I find that genre to be, one that I tend to work in because of that.
It generally works for people. It's casting a wide net, right? Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I'm learning a lot just chatting with you about your approach, and I can already see that you're way more organized than I am, because I just have one big playlist that's like 700 songs that says cap tracks. Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm pretty tidy in my house, so I'm like, why are my so anyway, there's always room for refinement.
We can talk more about that.
We could talk more about that, yeah.
The other thing I'll say too is that predominantly the cap tracks that I was doing for first were for I am ketamine, and I had eight playlists, and each one has its own arc, but then over the whole thing there's also an arc. There's of a wider arc. Eight for their initial series, and so it's more accessible music, and it starts to get kind of progressively more expansive, ephemeral, light and inviting as you go along, because I feel like that creates an invitation for the self to come forward.
For going deeper. Yeah, fantastic. So cool. Okay, let's talk about your playlist.
Sure.
So I loved it. And I love hearing you talk about how you approached it, because those were the kind of words that I pulled out as well, was just nourishing, nurturing. Gentle was a word that came to mind for me. And it does provide a different flavor and color palette to our, color hue to the palette of the Sublingual Sessions playlist so far. So I'm really appreciative that you gave it that kind of attention, because that's what we're trying to do with this series, is just how many different flavors and colors can we bring in so that people have a wide variety to choose from. So a lot of gratitude for you doing it that way. It's got just this gentle pace. The tempo is not rushed. throughout, you know. There's some arcs to it, but it doesn't have a big rise and fall that I noticed. And so I just felt like there's just this thread of kind of, it's just moving forward at its own slow-ish pace that felt really comforting. And then the vocals for sure stand out. I noticed that right away. I'm like, oh, her use of vocals is it's they're woven throughout. And so I got this sense of almost like it was a long lullaby. That was something that it evoked for me. So there's a spaciousness and kind of a transcendent mystical quality that comes through, but also very grounded with nature elements and like human elements. There's vocals and chanting and water sounds and birds, and so you really get the nature element too, which I loved and appreciated. It's just about two.
To speak
Go ahead.
to that for a second too, you know, I really feel like a big part of this work is that you go into this transcendent space, and then there's something that changes you there, that you bring back down into this plane, right? And then the work is, okay, what do I do with that, and how do I be even more present in my humanness? And so bringing in those kind of earth tone, you know, like earth sounds, birds, the eloquence of music to really sort of highlight, you know, the juiciness of being able to be alive and to be able to hear music and to experience it and to, you know, have a reaction to it, and
the embodiment of it. Yeah. So. Yes, I have come to appreciate that, and I haven't put it into words in that way, but I see myself doing that as well when I'm curating, and so I love that you're naming that specifically and directly. And this playlist really achieves that in a beautiful way. So this is about 2 hours long, and it sounds like this isn't your typical modality, like a rote of administration to work for, to curate for. Sublingual.
Well, yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, I am doing sublingual work right now, but I was mimicking this playlist off of the kind of style that you had from your other ones, except that I don't typically do sublingual in the same kind of way, because I'm doing more psycholytic work, and then I did a lot of IM work in person, and so this was so there was a little bit of a stretch on this one to kind of explore what this is like in a slightly different context.
So, gotcha. Yeah. So we've got it built out with swish time, 12 minutes, kind of the way that we have set ours up. Just that's the way that I practice, and that a lot of our PRATI alumni seem to practice when they're doing sublinguals, have that 12 minutes of swish time. And just a note for people using this to set your crossfade, set it to 12 seconds to get the blend between songs. And you're gonna get to hear some of the transitions as we move into the playlist, which I think we're gonna pivot to right now. Let's listen to some music here. So I will share my screen. And we should be seeing the playlist here.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So here we are. It is 20 songs. Look at, and you got some nice likes already. I love that it's getting out there. I like to think of the exponential impact that number means, right? 179, perhaps mostly clinicians, which is how many clients over time, right?
Right.
It's an amazing impact. So we wanted to maybe start with the first track, this Everything As It Is, Pete Kuzma. So let's listen to a little bit of this one. It starts off with some ambient noise here. It's already creating such an environment. to go into.
Yeah. So the bells, I felt like really kind of like time to bring yourself into the present moment. Right. Here we are.
Mindfulness.
Here we're going. Like you are embarking into this. Like pulling into present.
And we've got some synths coming in here. Sounds like some cello.
Like almost like a vocal sound. Yeah, and then the voice comes in.
So this sounds so mystical to me. It's like this invitation into another world. It feels kind of mystical and transcendent.
I just really like the kind of slow build with it. So it kind of allows people like a little bit of time to kind of like settle in, get everything arranged as they need to, kind of just, you know, and then it continues to bring them as it kind of continues to layer.
As it deepens here. Does this just continue to build from here? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think we should.
So let's see. Yeah, we'll probably fade this one out. So that's so it's just a lovely opening. I mean, I really feel the carrier wave of the medicine, and even though people are swishing it this time, it's opening them up into that space. Great opening track. All right, so we wanted to then move on to track number 3.
Yeah, and actually, so I specifically put this one here because this is the start of the 12. This is after 12 minutes. So my hope was that participant or therapist could say, when you start to hear the chimes, that you'll know that we're going to transition and it'll be time to spit. And so then the song track lasts for a few minutes, and so it kind of allows people to spit, have a little transitional moment.
Great.
And I just love Koshi chimes. I think this thing is so pretty. So
let's have a listen to these.
So this one's less of a song and more of just
like a marker.
Like it's a marker. Yeah.
There's so much deep resonance in the lower range.
There's just something that sounds so sweet about these charms. Is it just I don't know, it happens what comes up for me. It's just it's a
sweetness, really comforting. Certainly has an otherworldly sound to it. It's kind of haunting a little bit too, and just I can feel myself going into a non-ordinary state just listening to it right now.
And so then the next track is
like where things start to build. To pick up. Okay, so So this track comes in around 13 minutes, the bells, the chimes. And so in most of my sessions, people are finishing their swishing and they're really dropping into the medicine while this one's playing, and then they're going to get this transition, and we're going to listen to the transition here. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit. The lovely transition, because those paths just fill up the sonic space.
Yeah, I love this track.
Yeah, that steady beat just gently eases in.
So there's this kind of primal acceleration.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? It's a soft beat. It's, you know, like
it's tribal.
And you can hear the vocals. Yeah, it's tribal.
Yep. There's chanting. Yeah, this was one of my favorites. If you hadn't have chosen this one, I would have said, we have to play Angels. So there's a little break here.
Yeah.
I think some synthesize, like some more melodic synths come in.
Yeah, it shifts again.
Listen to this.
Can't remember exactly when it was, but.
Yeah. Now we're moving.
So it's like, this is like we're traveling, we're moving into this space, and it continues to build.
Yeah.
So it feels like very inviting to me. Of kind of like active, it's like there's an active participation almost of being drawn in.
I feel that.
And then, you know, and then as it shifts to the next track, which I think was one that you wanted to talk about too, because it is a longer track. It's like 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
so
Let's check that out.
That had kind of a particular purpose as well.
Okay. I'd love to hear what the purpose is. So I'll turn it back on. That transition is elegant. The last beat and then it drops into the first notes.
So I'm keeping with the beat here. And this one is an 8-minute song with this pretty steady beat here.
Yep.
And so this one doesn't have the same arc and different movements in the build that the other one did. This one just kind of takes you to this place, and it's evoking this like trance place. And that was sort of my intention around it, was just that we're moving and we're traveling, and now we're in it now. We've ramped up and now we're in it.
It's like the first hill of the roller coaster and then like a long straightaway.
Yeah. And so there's not a ton of change during this time, but it just sort of allows people to kind of like settle into this place now, but yet there's still movement. And then there's, you know, as you can hear, there's bringing in the female vocals now, which becomes a theme for the rest of the playlist.
I do love the little background vocals that start to come in. They go, ha, ha, ha. I was like, we gotta play this. Even in its steadiness, it has the swells of like evocative energy.
And I realized I also said that I don't typically put music that has chanting in it into my track, but this was sort of an exception.
An exception.
You know,
why is that? Tell us more about that.
I just love the way that I think this song was less about the chanting piece of it and more about that steady beat and that the female presence that it offers. And I still felt like it was very accessible.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it works really well. Awesome. Okay.
All right.
So we'll skip one here and move on to track 7.
Yeah.
Hobbit Song, perhaps, is how you say it.
Yeah. So Pearl.
Yeah. What do you know about Pearl?
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but I have met him in person. He's a friend of a friend. When I started getting into this work, a friend of mine who does a lot of music stuff was recommending to his music. And I love Pearl. He just makes these really stunning soundscapes. And so, you know, so that, and we won't play it, but the Dream Life, Tony Anderson is much more getting contemporary, that contemporary neoclassical kind of feel. And then so we're going into some different kind of fluctuations of different feeling tones and tempos.
Gotcha.
Now after that kind of trance moment. So I just wanted to highlight this one because he does such an interesting job of creating this soundscape.
Absolutely. And this is an especially interesting track. So let's take a listen.
Yeah, that whole album, Still Point, is really stunning.
This is a very ambient track.
Yeah, and it still has some movement to it, because I don't usually, early on, I would make playlists that was all ambient music, and then very quickly realized that was not working, because there's no direction, and people go out into ketamine space, and there's no directionality to it, and it's very disorienting.
We call that being marooned. You get marooned. Yeah, it's like, where do I go? Oh no.
Yeah. So this one, it's sort of like, okay, we've built up, we've had a couple of different feeling tones, and now we're kind of having a washing into sort of an oceanic space for a little bit, and sort of like gone through a little bit of a water slide, and then you know, gotten out into sort of a wider lake for a little bit, and so we're just kind of
you're floating
expanding.
And drifting a bit, right? Yeah.
And this song does, I don't know where in the track, but it does kind of shift a little bit.
Kind of pick up. I mean, we'll jump ahead a little bit. Here we go. There's some more tonality and texture.
Yeah, and I do recommend. Yeah, even with the headphones here, I think this one is a really great one to have with like good speakers or good headphones, because some of that feels like it's getting lost over Zoom. So highly recommend. With this one in a deeper way. does have a little bit of a a beat that kind of comes in that's just real soft, that so it still has some movement in it.
It does. It's real gentle. I kind of, when I was listening to this before to prep, I heard that little pulsing gentle beat, and it was almost like, I thought of like a distant thunderstorm.
Yeah, and there's this sort of a hauntingness to it, and then that really leads into what the next track is, which is really very prominent female vocals that have this, hauntingness to it, you know, and I just love Essie Jane.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I've seen Essie Jane showing up a lot recently in playlists too. Yeah. So I think people are getting, the algorithm is pointing them in that direction.
Yeah, she's great.
Okay, great, love it. Okay, so we're not going to play the next song, but encourage people to listen to this, the whole thing at some point. But we wanted to move on to Woven Song.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs too. Again, with female vocals in there.
And I enjoy this one a lot. And this is, I actually did some research. I don't know what you know about Oliver and Hania Rani, but I'll let you maybe share first, and then I can add in.
I don't know too much. I kind of found this song and was just so moved by it.
Let's listen to it a little bit.
I'm excited to hear what you found out too.
I mean, first of all, it's just incredibly beautiful.
Totally.
You really get the lullaby here.
Totally. What I'll say too is that, you know, whereas the beginning of the playlist, you know, after the swish, when, you know, it's like there's a building and you're going moving, and then there's a cresting, and now it's coming into this much more human.
Yeah.
lots of like, you know, because like more physical instruments rather than, you know,
more organic.
Organic, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So it's sort of an invitation to, you know, feel your humanness.
Absolutely. So and I think it just proceeds like this.
Yeah, it doesn't take any
do much more, right? So Olafur Arnolds is a Polish pianist and composer, and Hania is Polish. Olafur's Icelandic, and so this is a rework with Hania playing piano. Olafur on the original track, Olafur is playing piano, so it's her playing, right? And it's kind of a remix too, with the vocals. If you listen to the original, there's more vocals, and it's actually an Icaro, Shipibo ayahuasca Icaro, and there's another layer to the vocals that you can really hear that it's from an actual ayahuasca song. And so I would encourage people to listen to this and to listen to the original, just to get a sense of what this work is that these two artists are playing off of, and really you know, the cultural beauty and medicine that they're honoring with the Ikaro woven. And woven song refers to, in Shipibo practice with ayahuasca, the songs, the Ikaros, are actually represented also in their weavings. And that's when you see the really intricate patterns. And so in the medicine, they're singing patterns, and the people that make the tapestries are weaving the patterns of the songs. And it's this interwoven artisanry of medicine and healing. It's just incredibly beautiful. So that's what I learned in studying this a little bit.
Wow. Well, I'm so excited that you shared that. And I think it so speaks to that they were that this was a medicine song, right? And
Yes.
I didn't hear the Icaros part of it, right? But could still feel that the frequency, right, of the medicine space and what it's opening us into is still there, right?
Still
and
there.
I picked up on that independent of the whole Icarus piece of it. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Listen to the original, and it's immediately obvious if you've heard Shipibo songs before. You're like, oh wow, I am in that medicine now. So that's so great. I love that you chose that. So let's move on to the suspicions. M. Ostermeyer. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna turn it up here, and we'll just play it from the beginning. Anything you want to say to lead us in?
This one that has sort of different. This one, it's got some different soundscapes in it that are kind of interesting. That just sort of evoke a different invitation.
This one was the most avant-garde, if I would say, of the selections you had. Very much a soundscape.
But it's like a soundscape, and kind of the sounds bringing you kind of into present. But the pianos, I feel like, are still very kind of like warm and inviting.
Yeah, those are grounding. So I would love to experience this on ketamine. I'll just say that right now. I have not as of yet, but it's so creative and curious. And it's arrhythmic kind of, but it has its own cyclical structure, so there's movement to it. It's a cool song to put in here. And it almost is a bit of an interlude, maybe just like a different kind of energy to sit with for a few minutes. Okay.
Yeah, and then it goes into a pretty long David Darling song. I really love his work. It's just very warm and inviting, and I think like what I was saying earlier around I feel like when I listen to this song, it makes me happy to be alive and like listening, and that I get to take in the beauty that this world holds. And so,
love it.
Yeah, just all I'll say.
Starting off with Birdsong.
Yeah.
And this is a really lovely, more predictable and accessible song following the Ostermeyer track. To come from that more strange amorphous world just into this like, oh, I can just drop completely in to the flow.
Yeah, and then that kind of like that flow sort of leads us out of the whole playlist. It just kind of
continues.
Has this warm returning flavor. And so yeah, these few tracks that are coming up are warmer. Yeah, so I have a bucket list called Returning. So this is one of the
Returning.
songs written
Okay.
Returning.
So this is the officially return phase.
Yeah, it's like you want to feel like warmly welcomed back into your body.
Mm.
So I would say the next track is also falls into that. And then we start to get into more expansive but like ambient. So but at this point, like people are mostly through their journey, and so they're gonna be starting to come out, you know, around then. And so I left this sort of a long tail of, especially, you know, some of the, when there's one track here that's like 10 minutes long. Long tail of just sort of ambient music that I like, that just kind of holds the container as people are coming out.
Beautiful. It's incredibly welcoming and nourishing and warm. Yeah, and 8 minutes of that, you get to really luxuriate in that space. Yeah, I love that. So shall we move on to Ariana?
Yeah, this is one of my very favorite
Okay,
songs.
I'm gonna play the transition because I love the transitions.
Okay, great.
Let's do that. Oh, it's so great.
Yeah, because you get the birds kind of ending in the other song, and then it just,
this is when you get to be a DJ.
And I mean, Tony Anderson, all of his music is just stunning and so great for medicine work. I think he actually lives in LA. A friend of mine said that I think she met him at the gym. And I was like, why are you going to meet Tony Anderson at the gym?
At the gym, right?
He's like, oh, I'm a composer. I'm like, what? So anyway, his work is beautiful.
So here's what I love about neoclassical music. We're bringing in the synthesizers.
Right. And yet it still feels organic.
Yep. This is a long piece. It has a lot of development to it as well.
And yeah, it still has that warm homecoming feel.
Yeah, very much. It's nostalgic. Like that bittersweet, melancholic, but warm, welcoming. It's like old photographs.
Right.
Yeah. It's like grandma's pie on the windowsill.
Yeah. Well, I think even the album on there is like, it's just like people in a garden. You know.
There you go. It's very yes. Very wholesome. Very sweet. Yeah, this is a great song to come home to.
Right, so this is in the returning playlist, or my bucket.
Yep. Is there a section you want to jump to, or just feel?
I think maybe just playing one of the last song, or how much time do we have left?
We could do one more here.
Okay, yeah, just hitting on the last one, because that's also a long track. I'm just trying to make a long tail, and I want to highlight Poem, because I think
let's do that.
She has she makes ambient music, but it feels feminine to me. noticeably feminine to me. And so I often use her music as my end caps for having something holding the container while we're doing an integrative process.
Beautiful. Okay.
So again, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
but
it's just it's a spacious, washy landing pad.
Yeah. And you can play it loud and be immersed in it, or you can have it be soft and in the background, and it kind of works either way.
I definitely feel the feminine aspect here.
Yeah, and some of her tracks have like nature sounds interspersed in there as well. So I tend to like that as well.
It's like a long melodic phrase that takes its time to develop.
Yeah.
So it continues to change. Really just lovely, beautiful closing. I love that you have this at the end here. Wow. Well, I feel nourished. I feel relaxed. I feel like I just went places and visited some deep parts of myself. So thank you, Ashley, for putting this together. This is really quite a gift, quite a work. Sublingual session 6. I'm just thrilled that you shared this with us.
Yeah, my honor. Yeah, I just like to get it out there, you know, and especially for new clinicians getting into this work, you know, it can feel, the music piece can feel really intimidating, and I just want the music to be enjoyed, you know, and the artists to be highlighted. So and kind of pass on how I've been impacted by it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've wanted to reach out to some of these artists and just let them know that their music's being used in this way, because some of them probably have no idea, you know.
Yeah, well, and you know, and it's tricky, you know. So I mean, for the artists that I've used quite a bit, like Poem and Pearl, like I do try to go and buy their albums, because Spotify doesn't give their people enough, you know, compensate them enough. And my hope is that, you know, by highlighting their work, that they get more exposure. But it's also kind of, you know, I wonder how many of these artists know are either influenced by a psychedelic work like the Woven Song, right, that I didn't even know, and which ones have not been, but that seem to carry over. So yeah, it would be cool to reach out to them.
It's a curiosity I have. Yes. Yeah, so definitely support the artists. You can buy the albums. Bandcamp is a great way to support the art. There's a lot of incredible music on Bandcamp, a lot of ambient electronic stuff. Well, let's open it up to some questions here. We have a little time here at the end. I do see some chats that popped up while we were going through that. Looks like I'll just read a few of these. There's people commenting on the music as we went. Hearing the piano pedals, that might have been the Oliver Arnold song. There's a grounding effect married with the simplicity of the song is a beautiful effect, yes. And Cello Blue came on in a CAP session today as my patient was emerging from a quite dissociated state. It had been a hard session and I welcomed this song. Thank you, that's wonderful. Feeling like I've gone through something important and better for it. Awesome. Well, does anyone from our audience here have any questions? If you do, raise your hand, and then I think you might be able to unmute yourselves, and if not, I can do that. And you can use the reaction button on your Zoom screen to raise a hand. I see Yvonne has her physical hand up.
It's easier.
There you go. It is. I just have to be able to see you when you do it. Okay, great.
I came late. I'm very sorry about that. I really wish I'd heard the beginning of this. But Ashley, I am really grateful for this playlist because it's really hard to find playlists, I think, that are conducive towards specifically ketamine and very specifically towards sublingual. And I've run into some roadblocks along the way with things that sounded good, and then good thing I checked them. They didn't necessarily all work. So I did miss the first part of this, but I'm going to check this out for sure, because what I heard here in the last 20 minutes was absolutely perfect as far as being very transportative, but in a gentle way and allowing an opening. So, and that's what we all are, I think, trying to find for our clients and ourselves. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's so important to have the right music for the medicine, right? And we were just talking before we jumped on here, is that like a lot of people are, finding psilocybin playlists and trying to use that for CAP or something because they're trying to just find psychedelic psychotherapy playlists, and it's not the same. And I think it's a learning, an important learning opportunity for therapists, because it's challenging for some therapists, because this is the music is your invisible co-therapist, and so you need to know who you're working with. And it is I feel like it is a really important piece of becoming a skilled psychedelic assisted psychotherapist, or having a co-therapist. It's good music.
Who's in the room with us here? Yeah, absolutely. Yvonne, thank you so much. B, go ahead and unmute.
So when you're putting together a list, you said that you work with various buckets and things like that, which I imagine that is never ending, and probably very large. But when it comes to making your playlist, typically how long does it end up taking you to do that? And is there revisions, and how do you test it out?
It depends on the playlist. I mean, this one this was my first time making a playlist sort of collaboratively in some ways with Stephen's feedback, and then incorporating his feedback. So that was kind of a new element for us, and it's taken us months to kind of, with our busy schedules and things. But that one's probably the one that's taken the longest for me, because we were co-working on it in a way. But typically, I don't know. I can sit in one sitting and make the whole playlist, and then kind of try it out. And so, I'm trying it out. I have some sense that I've got a good enough flow that I can kind of try it out without experiencing the whole thing like under medicine myself, because I've just got a feel for it now. So I can try it with a client, and then being in the room, feeling it with the client, I can be like, that worked, or that didn't work. And so there's something about feeling it in the space in live time that is an important part of the process. And then, I mean, I would love to be able to have as many opportunities as I can to kind of experience my own music in, a ketamine state as it is intended. But that happens some of the time and not others.
Thank you.
Thanks, B. Other questions?
There's a question in Justin said, and he says, the music has been such a big part of my ketamine session so far. I'm curious how the link between the ketamine and music was discovered. Could you say more about what you mean by that question? I'm not sure if I completely followed that.
All right, thanks, Ashley. So for me, I'm coming from a participant, not a practitioner, but so far the music has been such a central part of it, and really allows you to really take that journey, and it really helps guide you through that to whatever kind of you need. I'm just wondering how that came about, like kind of how was it discovered that music is such a helpful adjunct to this kind of therapy? Like I'm just amazed how much of a part of it is, that music is can have such a huge impact on it. Even if it's like, that's not the typical kind of music I listen to, but it was, I found very, very powerful and very central to the whole experience. So I just find it really fascinating how that link was kind of found, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think I can kind of speak to it in a sort of a more global way, in that, I mean, music and healing have been intricately linked since the beginning of time. And to quote a good friend of mine, like, we don't need to reinvent healing, right? We have been healing in tribal fashion, in groups, with music, with chanting, with dancing, with vocalizing. Like, these are all built into our bones of how we heal. And so having music be an essential part of that process, I think has, there have been so many cultures that have combined psychedelics, or psychoactive substances, or plants, or mushrooms, or with music, because it evokes, they support each other, and it's something, it feels like it's so primal to have. I mean, there are many species on this planet that have music or song or melody, right? Maybe other than the birds and the whales, but so I think that has been a pretty intricate part of psychedelic therapy since the beginning, and even before it was psychedelic therapy, when it was just plants and healings in jungles and deserts and forests and wherever.
No, thank you. I think that kind of was what I was looking for, and I think I see it the same way. It's such a departure from the way Western medicine traditionally has been, and it's like going back to our roots, as whether taking part in indigenous practices or Eastern practices. It's quite fascinating to see just how it all comes together, especially from my perspective. So
yeah, I think in certain ways we've over cognitized, intellectualized the process, and so I think we're in a process that these medicines are inviting us back into our bodies, into our hearts, into the whole rest of our body outside of this part.
Yeah, thank you, Justin, for that question. The only thing that I would throw in to kind of build from what Ashley said is, if you kind of look back, and I'm not a scholar in this, but what I understand is that the early LSD research in the 50s into the 60s, the pioneers of that, including Stan Grof and Helen Bonney, I think to some degree Walter Pahnke, were made that connection. We're like, oh, well, music is essential to this. And they wrote about that in those early papers and developed their protocols around that, which included kind of internalizing with eye shades and headphones. And so it's kind of, we're kind of picking up the torch from where it was dropped with Prohibition, with this research to say, oh yeah, no, music is going to be part of this. And so when ketamine assisted therapy became something that people started to explore, it just made sense to work that protocol in. And then what we're doing here is just recognizing, well, what are the qualities, characteristics, styles of music that work best with specific medicines, with ketamine, for example. And I find that really fascinating, because I don't know that there's a lot of research done distinctively picking out qualities of music across medicines. But what I have found just from my own experience and working with clients is that there really is ketamine music, and it has this, it needs to have a cyclical forward motion to it, and working with evocative melodies and expansiveness is really helpful in understanding the arc and the pace of the medicine, and the dissociation is the last thing I want to say is that the dissociation that ketamine invokes to consciousness allows music to become something really interwoven with everything. Like you don't even know at high doses that music is even what's happening. It's just everything is happening, and then you're in it. You inhabit the music, and then later, as you start to piece back together consciousness-wise, you're like, oh, that's music that's doing all of this. That's amazing. I don't feel the same way with MDMA in that way. It can help evoke images and feelings, but you don't inhabit it in the same way. You're more present in different ways. You're not dissociated into the music in that way. So there's something special about ketamine that's really fun to work with.
I would definitely agree with that. So thank you. Like that's when I was in it, especially the very first time, I was literally inside the music. It's hard to describe for anyone that hasn't done that. It's just mind blowing how you were inside it. Not just in your head or not listening to it, but just literally in it. So it'd be interesting to see if there's a correlation between specific frequencies or frequency range that's part of it, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for that. It was really interesting.
Great question. Yeah.
Thank you.
We got some questions in the chat here.
Yeah, it looks like Hugh said something. Looks like you're inspired to create your own playlist now. Great. And said, I would like to know which artists you use for your own work. The chanting you mentioned earlier in the conversation. Personally, I really enjoy Jane Wither, Jonathan Goldman. Cheers. One song, see, I'm such a visual person. I can like see the album color, and I'm terrible with the names, so I'm feeling a little embarrassed at the moment. But there's a one, this is less chanting, but there's a song that's actually a version of Ave Maria that that is by let's see. No, her name is falling out of my head at the moment. I listened to her. She does a lot of sound bowls. I'm gonna have to find it at a time because it's not coming to me at the moment. But and there's also some. I've done Kundalini Yoga teacher training and Kundalini Yoga, and that spiritual framework has really been a big part of the container, a spiritual container for my own journeying. And so I like to I really like that kind of music because it speaks to something that's inside of me, and I know what the chants mean and what they're trying to evoke. And so I think there's kind of a technology that you can blend with the music when you have these sort of other practices. So I would just say keep exploring. Looks like
there's some Lissa Menard. Do you see that one?
Yeah. Would you share more about the topic areas of your buckets? And technically Spotify doesn't have tags, right? Are you using buckets, basically playlists? Yeah, so I'm making a playlist and I'm saying I label it psychedelic therapy, uncurated, and then I put a theme. So bittersweet, returning, right? The ambient, Ashana, thank you. Somebody just put it in the chat. Okay, like her name fell out of my head. Anyway, Ave Maria by Ashana is a stunning song to listen to in ketamine. Pro tip. So yeah, other buckets. Movie soundtracks can be really great because it takes you through these different emotional arcs. So I have like a cinematic playlist. So I think it's kind of figuring out what sort of tones you want to capture, and then I pull from those. And so that's been really useful in my ketamine curation playlist. MDMA has a completely other approach because you're not curating in the same way. So that's like a whole other conversation. But for at least for ketamine, having, so we're capturing these different sections of the experience, right? The intro leading in, sort of in, and then ramping up emotional music, coming back down, maybe some expansive music to ambient music. So yeah, kind of experimenting there. You tailor playlists to clients' intention, focus of the work. I don't tend to do that. As people are coming into ketamine, especially when I was doing IM work, and I was doing a lot of IM work. I did like, I think over 700 IM sessions in 2.5 years. So a lot. And so everyone was coming in and having kind of doing an intro protocol series. And so they were new to the medicine anyway. And so sometimes people will be like, oh, I never bring my own music. And I'm like, well, let's talk about that. Let me encourage you to listen to use this music first, because it is specifically curated for this. And sometimes we can bring in more of your taste if you're interested in that. But most of the time people liked the playlist enough that we didn't, or if they made a suggestion, like I had a client that was like, I really love Native American flute music. And I was like, okay, I'll make you a playlist of all Native American flute music. And then he came out of it, he's like, that was too much Native American flute music. I told you.
Yeah.
I know.
Told you so.
Yeah. So
That's great.
Similar last question. Do you foresee creating playlists that would evoke specific types of memories, for example, childhood and past life? Would you tailor a playlist to a particular client's request? Example, if they requested music native to their language and culture. So yeah, I mean, the cultural piece of it, I think is a really interesting to bring in music. I think as a rule of thumb, for pretty much any facilitated psychedelic assisted psychotherapy work that I do, no lyrics in the language the person understands. And so because they could be coming in and saying something that's completely inappropriate for whatever's happening in that moment. So I never use anything with words that people are going to understand. But as far as sort of like evoking different kinds of memories, or I haven't really explored that very much. I think mostly because people react so differently to music. And so even if I thought this was going to evoke this sort of thing, they could be having a completely different experience, and like I had one client who I think I had like a beautiful chorus song that's not with words, but it's just this female vocals humming kind of at the end of it. And it's like one of my favorite songs. And she was like, can you turn them off? I was like, so her had her own process going on, but like it didn't resonate with her. And so I don't know if that would be a level of time and effort, I think, that might be above and beyond. And you wouldn't really necessarily get reliable results because people are just going to react to it how they react to it.
Yeah, this question comes up a lot, and I think people really want to see music as this tool they can use for a particular like diagnosis or something, like what's good for PTSD? Like it doesn't work that way. I really don't think so, and I think that's what's beautiful about it, is it's more mysterious and intangible than that, right? We can't really quantify it in that way.
Yeah, and I would say that, like, I think what psychedelic medicines offer to us is that we're getting below symptomology and getting to the core human tendencies, needs, desires, impulses that are below all of that. And I think music speaks to that in the same language that's below that cognitive place. And so that's why my music is really an invitation for people to have different feeling emotional states that connect to, so there may be an invitation to have something that feels a little bit more melancholic or challenging, and that may tune into something and they may go there with that,
Hmm.
or they may not. So
Yeah, and we can't predict that.
yeah.
Yeah, great. Let's see if there's more here.
What do you, okay, there's a void in ketamine playlist. What do you use, Ashley, or you suggest a post playlist to can use the word ketamine in the title, for example, in Spotify? So you can, here's the tricky piece of it, right? So Spotify, you're not supposed to use for commercial purposes. And so it's a little tricky to try to like promote these playlists because we're not supposed to be using them for commercial purposes. And so wave paths, and if any people aren't familiar with that group, they're really trying to create music and AI, like computer layered music for psychedelics that get around that. And so if people are challenged with the music piece, I would suggest checking out Waypath. They're doing a really beautiful job with that. So it's tricky, right? We all want to like share the music and what we're creating, and we also want to be respectful of the companies that are hosting these things and musicians and all sorts of things. So that's part of it too.
Kind of dancing in the gray area there a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So use for your own personal purposes.
Yes.
But no, I haven't gotten any of our playlists like taken down because it says ketamine in the name or psychedelic in the name. I haven't seen or heard of anyone that happening. So
yeah, it's kind of just become the de facto place where a lot of people are sharing playlists that they're using to support medicine experiences, and so therapists are using them for their work. Yeah.
So where can I find your playlist? Yes. So my Spotify account is Ash, ASH, and then BE. So Ash B. And then the symbol is looks like kind of a nautilus artwork, harking back to my roots as a marine biologist. So, or you can, yeah, I think that would probably be the easiest way to do it. I don't know if you can put a link or in the playlist header for the playlist number 6 to
in the playlist header.
Well, you know, it has a description at the top underneath, like you know, this has these themes, play with the crossfade. I don't know if there's a link that can be put in there to my profile to find other playlists. I don't know. That's a possibility.
I'll look into that. Yeah, and see if that'll let me do that.
So,
well,
yeah,
Ashley, thank you so
more.
much. Yeah, and everybody, please check out Ashley's Spotify. Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Other things you want people to know about your work, or if they want to learn more about what you're doing?
Yeah, my website, type it in here. It's ashleybooth.net. Yeah, I'm doing trainings in ketamine and consultation groups, and do private consultation for people getting into this field. So happy to chat about wherever you are. If you know, I've just been in this space for a long time, and happy to share what I've learned and support people in becoming more light workers as we reconnect to the earth.
Well, thank you so much once again for this offering and for sharing your time with us, and for everyone for joining us. It was just such a joy to go through this journey of music with you, and we hope that we'll stay connected with you. Take care. Have a good night.